What do you have for lunch today? I got some, hard disks.
It's the anarchy with me on the exciting guy!
UGREEN was nice enough to provide this lunchbox and some hard drives for this review. And I may keep all of it. But no money was exchanged, so all opinions in this video are my own, and they didn't get a chance to see this video before you did. This is UGREEN's DH2300 NAS in all its glory. Kinda looks like a lunchbox, doesn't it? Ooh, the cover is magnetic. Neat! Next in the box we have a tinier box. And in that box, what do we have? A warranty card? Some cable? Some literature? What's this? User instruction. The user instruction is the FCC statement. A new screwdriver to add to my collection. Cool! No idea what this carta is supposed to be, as it's in French only. Looks like recycling info. We get a bunch of screws. Nice barrel plug power supply. Oh, there's another bag of screws. That's it. Both boxes are empty now. Oh, let's open that cable. Ah, network cable. Makes sense. Let's take a look at the unit itself. It has an interesting amount of ports for a NAS. There's a power button, LAN and disk indicators, and the USB-C hole at front. I guess that's for external storage, but I guess we'll find out. At the back we have two USB 3.2 ports, an Ethernet port, which I forgot to point my finger at, but I don't have to tell you where it is, right? And an actual HDMI output. That's interesting. Could this actually be a mini PC in a NAS case? Oh, and of course a hole for power! If we take the magnetic cover off, we see two empty hard disk trays. You can just pull them out, no tools needed. They reveal two SATA ports that your drives will connect with. Yeah, well, that's all there is to it. Pretty neat looking thing that provides very easy access to the drives. Let's turn it on without any drives first, see what it does. A big UGREEN logo on screen. Is that it? Oh, it's Debian. No credentials to be found though. Power draw at this moment is just 2.4 watts. Not bad at all. Let's check that web interface. Let's accept that user agreement I have fully read like any sane person would do. Do we need to agree to share anonymous data? Apparently not. Cool. Create a user account. They would like your email address, but you may skip that as well. Nice! After configuring, this is the HDMI output. You can apparently use this to play media directly on your TV using an app on your phone. We'll try that later for sure. Welcome to storage. Does not meet creation requirements. Really? You need a hard drive for that? We got a neat control panel that lets you configure the system. Yeah, let's auto redirect to HTTPS. Well, that worked quicker than I thought it would. Let's log in again. We've got an app center to expand the unit's capabilities. Right, you can't install anything without storage. I expected this to be installed on the internal eMMC drive. We've got a quick resources view over here. Click here to get some widgets on screen that provide more information on the unit's current state. Task Center, nothing here. Notifications. Some user setup and the ability to reboot or shut down the unit. Now with the unit configured and running, still without hard drives that is, it suddenly uses 4.2 watts, almost 2 watts more than before. Still nothing to be worried about, but interesting for sure. Let's enable SSH access, check what we can see under the hood. Yeah, just a functional Debian 12 install. So if you'd rather just use that, I guess you could. 4 gigs of RAM, The output of proc CPU info isn't very helpful, just that it has 8 cores of some kind. It's running a 64-bit ARM kernel, so there's that. By the way, I did try to boot it with something else, but I couldn't get into the boot menu or BIOS setup using the key combos I found online. I'm pretty sure someone will find a way sooner or later though. Let's add some drives. UGREEN has sent me some to test it with, but let's try some older ones first. I will first try this 320GB drive I pulled from the 2007 iMac recently. Put it in the bracket and just put some screws in. Open our Lunchbox and just slide it in. Hard drive 1 inserted. Nice! So now we can start to create a storage volume. Basic or JBOD? I think you'll need a ladder for a RAID setup, but I'm not sure. The description underneath isn't very helpful either, as they're the same on both. Learn more. Cool, a lot of info on different RAID configs, but no description of basic versus JBOD. Let's just try JBOD. All data will be erased. Sure, go ahead. Well, that went nice and quick. Let's create my first folder on here. Copy some data onto it. Let's throw in a movie, because why not? Duplicate file names, keep? I don't know. Uploaded successfully. Can we play it? Well, it tries. It doesn't seem to load. Maybe we need this theater app for that? Not really. Let's try another video file. Well, that one plays fine. Here's your friendly neighborhood XIT guy from 12 years ago. Now what if we would add another drive with a different capacity? I'll try this 500GB drive. Don't push too hard because I don't want to damage the already spinning one. Hard drive 2 inserted. Cool. Use. Add to storage pool. Added 1 hard drive for fault tolerance / added capacity. Okay. Oh, it extended the volume without even asking about that. That's not what I wanted. I mean, it's neat that you can combine the capacity of both, but if one fails, it takes the data from the other one down with it as well. That's a pretty bad idea. Only do that if you don't value the data on it. Can we delete the drive from the pool again? Doesn't look like it. Oh, by the way, only now I realized that there were 2 different sets of screws included, and I used the wrong ones. Anyway, let's move on and remove the volume so we can try this again. Apps have been installed on the current storage pool. Yeah, why didn't you just install those on internal storage? Right, both unused. Let's pull the 500GB one. Okay, it noticed. Let's try basic this time. Create a shared folder. I don't know. Let's limit it to 16 gigs. Copy some music from my band onto it. Oh. Let's add a second drive again. Use. Right. Now we get the option to configure RAID. It's gonna take a while to create this as a RAID set, as it's probably doing a sector by sector raw copy of the first drive into the second. So it'll be copying 300 gigs even though there's hardly any actual data on it. The indicators show a lot of activity right now. Alright, fast forward an hour or so, it's done creating the RAID set, so let's pretend a failure on the first drive. Hard drive 1 removed, the storage space 1 has degraded. Can I still access my data? Sure I can. I can actually play the music, so it's not just some file system cache. Oh, and the unit starts beeping now as well as giving a red light to indicate the issue. Well, let's fix that by replacing this old faulty drive with one of the shiny new ones UGREEN has sent me. Oh, nice box! 4 TB. Now that's what I call an upgrade. Let's use the right screws this time. Alright, the NAS sees the new drive. Repair storage pool. Sounds like a plan. This takes a while again, because it's now copying everything byte by byte back to the new drive. And done. It tells me it can expand the volume to 450 GB now, the size of the smallest drive that's in the enclosure. Right, let's pull the 500 GB drive out and replace that one with a new one as well. Disable the old drive from the interface this time. Quite annoyingly, you can't press enter after providing a password. You'll have to click the confirm button using the mouse. Right, let's replace that one as planned. Repair the pool again. That worked, but we still have a 282 GB storage pool. Let's click expand. Oh, no confirmation needed this time. Okay. This process took a very long time, some 5 hours or so. I could still use it though and even copy new files onto it, so it's not that big of a deal. Let's have a closer look to that app center. Let's just install some stuff from here. Hey, did you notice the interface just changed? The title bar is different, because I'm recording this on my Linux laptop instead of my MacBook. Anyway, back to the App Center. There's a manual installation button, but I'm not sure where to get custom packages. Apparently, we can download some from UGREEN's website. These seem to be the same as those on the store page. What if we select another model from the list, like its bigger brother, the DH2300? Interesting, that one seems to have Docker support. Would it let me install that on my DH2300? Oh, that works! I wasn't expecting that. I wonder if it will work. It sure looks like it. Let's install something. Let's try Nextcloud, just for fun. It does seem to work. The HTTP and HTTPS ports don't seem to work though. But we do see the log, which implies it did at least start. Oh, now it does work. I guess it just wasn't ready yet. Cool, Nextcloud on a UGREEN NAS, just because we can. The system seems fine with it, as both CPU and memory usage are still pretty low. Let's have a look at some of the other applications. There's a sync and backup tool, so you can create backups from your NAS to another machine or sync your PC with your NAS if you'd like that. Security seems to be a virus and/or malware scanner. Sure, let's enable real-time scanning and daily updates. Notification seems like a good idea. I don't have any malware over here and I'm not gonna download some to test this though. Online Office. Could I just drag my power sheet into this? Oh, I guess you'll need to manually copy it to your NAS first. Well, yeah, it does seem to work fine though. Oh, it's a copy of Only Office. Not sure why they're calling it Online Office then, but okay. You can't open it from the Files app. The Download Now button will just download the file to your PC. The Downloads app will just let you download a file from the internet, or a torrent if you'll provide a seed file. Pretty neat for slow download, so you don't need to keep your computer running. The Files app does know what to do with zip files. And text files like this MD file do open fine from it as well. We have a Cloud Drives app to connect things like Google Drive or OneDrive to your NAS. We can configure snapshots in the Snapshot app. That could come in handy. We can create our own music library in the Music app. Oh, you can even make a shared library, so you can share it with others on the system. The Theater app creates a neat library of photos on any folder you wish to use. I tried the backups of my YouTube videos and urgent sale MacBook Pro 2019 model? That's the end of life video on my 2015 MacBook. How did they come up with this title? It doesn't play well though, and the whole browser window seems to hang when I try to close it. Yeah, it's the same on another video. I tried playing back videos on my MacBook and had no issues on that one. No crashing and running perfectly fine, so maybe it's just my old laptop that has issues here. Big Bug Bunny at 4K plays great. Let's play it at a lower resolution, so it has some transcoding to do. CPU utilization isn't too bad, and the VPU is working hard to decode and encode the video stream. Check. When I close the video, that one drops to 0. Pretty cool. Let's upload my video thumbnails folder to test the Photos app. Alright, pretty basic, but it gets the job done. Let's create an album. Give me pics of a red PC. Oh, it just threw everything in there. Is this not the AI album thing mentioned on their product page? Let's try laptops. Nope. Ah well. Let's create a normal user for myself. I do want access to the shared folder, but maybe don't show the Docker one. Yeah, that seemed to work fine, and I have a lot less apps on the screen as I'm not allowed to manage the system with this user. There's an option to enable OTP as well, which is always a good idea if you want to be able to access your NAS from outside of your home network. By the way, if you want to access your NAS from the outside world, there's two options provided out of the box. The first is to use UGREEN Link Remote Access, for which you'll need a UGREEN account. The second is to forward the ports on your router and use a DDNS provider from the list to make sure you can always access it. Of course there's other options, but you're on your own for those. Let's do a little speed test. I'll first enable the SMB service so I can access the NAS from other systems without having to use the web interface. So now it shows up on my MacBook and I can browse all shares that are available to me. I'll open Blackmagic's speed test, select a share on the UGREEN NAS.
Start!
A tad over 100 megabytes a second ain't bad at all, given we're using hard disks. Besides, it's connected through gigabit, and if you divide 1 gigabit or 1000 megabit through 8, you'll see that the maximum on this speed would be 125 megabytes a second, so we're pretty close. With SSDs you might be able to reach higher speeds, but this unit only has a 1 gigabit network port, so that won't be a huge advantage for anything but seek times. And hey, as you can see, this is enough even for 4K editing. 8K even if you use H.265 files. I also tried to connect my USB 4.0 NVMe drive to the unit's USB-C port. It showed up on the peripheral. Let's create a test folder on it. Share. Users on this system, I suppose. Right, the whole drive shows up. I guess that sharing wasn't necessary. Let's run the same speed test on that one. About the same. Interesting. I guess we're really hitting the limit of the network connection here. Not sure how to check the USB speed from this interface, so I connected through SSH and used LSUSB for that. It shows up as a USB 3.2 enclosure. LSUSB-T indeed shows a speed of 5000 Mbit, which I believe is the speed of USB 3.2. One last thing I'd like to try out is playing a video on that HDMI port. For that we need a UGREEN NAS app on a phone or tablet. It's available in multiple languages. No Dutch or even German though. It noticed the unit on my network, so let's connect to it. Alright, kinda looks like the web interface we saw before. Let's open a video. Plays perfectly fine on my phone. Now let's hit that projection icon. Cool! So now my phone turned into a remote control for the HDMI output. Oh, pausing causes issues? Let's try that again. Alright, it does work. Quite a bit of latency between pressing a button and the action happening on screen. Pretty neat option though. Although personally, I wouldn't want to put a NAS with spinning drives and active cooling next to my television screen. We already looked at power draw before adding the two hard disks. At this moment, running idle with everything we installed, it's using just below 10 watts. Not bad at all. Playing and transcoding a 4K video file hardly raises that by 1 watt. During the speed test, that wattage went up to some 12-13 watts. Pretty sure the power bill will be cheaper than a few terabytes of storage at a cloud provider will cost ya. I guess that concludes our testing for today. I quite like this unit. The build quality is great and it's both very easy to set up and provides options for those who want to do a little more with it. If you really want to, you could even dive into the Linux system it's running on and configure everything the way you like. But if you want something that just works, UGREEN software is absolutely perfect as it is. Thank you very much for watching. Until next time.